Today, we're taking a close look at 5 of the rarest and most difficult to find commemorative state quarters that might be sitting in your pocket change right now. Each one capable of making your jaw drop and possibly changing your life. Depending on their condition, unusual mint errors, or specific mint marks, some of these coins have shocked collectors by selling for incredible amounts. We're talking prices in the thousands, and in some cases, climbing into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So grab your magnifying glass, because what you're about to learn might be hiding in your coin jar without you even noticing. The first coin on this amazing list brings us back to 1999, the Georgia State Quarter. At first glance, it appears just like any ordinary piece of change. But let me tell you something, this small coin can hide value you would never expect. It was made during the very first year of the U.S. 50 state quarters program, and the Georgia quarter helped spark a whole new excitement in modern coin collecting. On its front, you'll see the well-known Georgia peach right in the center, standing as a proud symbol of the state. Around it are strong oak branches, meant to show honor and strength. At the bottom, the words wisdom, justice, moderation curve gently across the design. Those 3 words make up Georgia's state motto. But the real attention doesn't come from the design alone. What makes collectors' hearts beat faster are the hidden surprises inside some of these coins. A Georgia quarter in fine condition might look a little worn, maybe with light scratches or faded features. But even those marks tell its long journey through many hands. Over the years, millions of Georgia quarters have been spent, saved, and forgotten. But a small number were made with minting mistakes that turned them into valuable finds. One of the most famous mistakes is the 1999 Georgia quarter that was struck on the wrong planchet. That means the coin was pressed on a blank piece of metal meant for a different denomination, such as a dime or a nickel. Just imagine holding a Georgia quarter that feels lighter, looks a different color, or seems thinner than normal. That's not a damaged coin, that's a rare treasure. These off-metal errors have sold for anywhere from $15,000 to more than $60,000, depending on how clear and dramatic the mistake is. And it gets even more exciting. Some Georgia quarters have been found with doubling on the letters, or with faint extra outlines around the peach or leaves. This doubling, called a double die error, can turn a normal quarter into a 5-figure prize. Collectors have paid $12,000 to $25,000 for sharp examples in near-mint shape. Here's the part that truly shocks people. One extremely rare off-metal Georgia quarter, kept in almost perfect condition, was once valued at over $450,000 in private collector circles. Yes, almost $500,000 for a quarter someone could have pulled from their pocket. But even regular Georgia quarters can be worth something. Everyday examples in fine condition, the kind you might own right now, can bring $10 to $40 depending on how bright they are, how clear the rim looks, and how strong the details are. If you come across one with a mirror-like shine, sharp features, and no signs of wear, you could be holding an uncirculated coin worth hundreds, sometimes even a few $1,000s. And if it's a proof coin from the San Francisco Mint, the ones that carry the small S mint market becomes even more desirable. A silver-proof Georgia quarter in flawless condition can reach $1,500 to $2,000, and that's before you count any errors. The Georgia quarter shows how an ordinary coin can become a hidden jewel. It's not just the age that matters, it's how the coin was made, how it was handled, and what makes it different from the rest. Maybe yours is struck slightly off-center, or maybe it has an unusual color. Don't overlook those little details. Coins like these are what make collecting so exciting, especially when something so small can hold so much history and so much value. So before you spend that quarter on a soda, take a good look. That little Georgia peach just might be your lucky break. Next, we head west to the vast, open skies of Montana. The 2007 Montana State Quarter stands out as one of the most striking and mysterious designs in the entire 50-state quarter series. At first glance, your eyes are drawn to the bold outline of a majestic bison skull hovering above Montana's rugged terrain. Below it, the words Big Sky Country pay tribute to the state's endless horizons and untamed beauty. But here's the secret most people miss. Some of these Montana quarters have amazed collectors. Not for their design, but for the unusual ways they were minted. A 2007 Montana quarter in fine condition might appear dull from circulation, with a few scratches and the original shine mostly gone. Don't let that fool you. This coin is famous for hiding some of the most unusual and valuable minting errors in the entire state quarter program. One variety that drives collectors wild is the extra cut error, a small blob of extra metal caused by a die break. On some coins, it appears near the bison skull, making it look as if the skull is cracked or even bleeding metal. Strange, rare, and oddly beautiful, these mistakes have made lucky finders thousands of dollars richer. Ordinary Montana quarters in fine condition are still worth just face value, 25 cents. But the moment that small die break or flaw appears, the value jumps dramatically. A striking die-cut version has sold for over $13,200, and one unique coin in pristine condition reportedly traded among top collectors for $71,500. And it gets even more incredible. A few Montana quarters were accidentally struck on the wrong metal blank, likely leftover planchets from foreign coins. These off-metal errors are extremely rare. Only a handful exist. One verified and graded by a top service reached a jaw-dropping $522,500 in private valuations. Even without errors, Montana quarters in high mint state or proof condition can fetch impressive prices. Proof silver versions from the San Francisco Mint, especially those graded PR70, have sold for $1,650 to $3,300. Coins with deeply mirrored fields and frosted devices can command even more. With the dramatic Western imagery and that bold bison skull, this coin's artistic design alone makes it a standout in any collection. Haunting, timeless, and unmistakably American. If you're holding one in fine condition, here's what to check before spending it. Examine the edges and lettering under bright light. Look carefully at the 2007 date and the Montana text. Even faint doubling or distortion can indicate a rare variety. Inspect around the skull as well. Any unusual metal bumps or outlines could signal an early die break, which is worth authenticating. What makes the Montana quarter so fascinating isn't just its value or errors, it's the mystery. Every collector dreams of finding the one coin that shouldn't exist. The mistake that slipped through the mint's otherwise perfect system. This coin is exactly that dream, a reminder that sometimes chance or fate can create something truly remarkable. So if you find a Montana quarter that looks a little off, don't dismiss it. You might be holding a piece of American minting history. A coin worth thousands, or in rare cases, over $500,000. Keep your eyes sharp and your magnifying glass handy. Treasures like this are out there, waiting to be discovered. Now, let's head back once again to 1999, the first year of the 50-state quarters program, and take a closer look at one of the most meaningful and surprisingly valuable coins from that entire series, the Delaware State Quarter. This was the very first quarter released in the program, and for collectors, that alone gives it a special place in history. On the coin, you'll see Caesar Rodney, the colonial patriot who rode 70 miles through a fierce storm just to cast the deciding vote for America's independence. The artwork is bold and full of movement, making it a powerful beginning to one of the most popular coin programs the U.S. has ever created. If you have a Delaware quarter in fine condition, it might look a little dull, maybe faded from years of use, but don't let that fool you. This coin hides one of the most surprising twists in modern coin collecting. Some 1999 Delaware quarters were made with dramatic mint errors, and a few of those mistakes have become famous. The most well-known one is called the spitting horse error. If you look closely at the horse's mouth, you might notice a tiny raised line coming forward. It's actually a small die crack, but it makes it look like the horse is spitting. Collectors love this unusual, funny detail. A regular Delaware quarter is only worth 25 cents. But that tiny line, the spitting horse error, changes everything. Circulated pieces with that crack often sell for $20 to $250, depending on how easy it is to see. Higher grade examples with cleaner details can go for over $1,000. And then there are the really rare ones. Coins struck on the wrong planchet, coins with off-center strikes, and coins with double die features. These special errors have brought in $15,000 to $40,000 at major auctions. And one nearly perfect Delaware quarter with an off-metal error, confirmed by a top grading company, has been privately valued at an incredible $485,000. Just imagine picking up a quarter from your spare change and finding out it's worth almost $500,000. That's the kind of magic the Delaware quarter can hold. Even the proof versions made at the San Francisco Mint are highly desired, especially the silver proofs. If you have one with a deep mirror surface and crisp frosting on Caesar Rodney's image, it can be worth $1,200 to $2,500. Add an unusual mint mistake, like a double rim, a die clash, or an off-center strike, and that price can jump past $10,000. So how can you tell if your Delaware quarter is something special? Start by looking at the horse's mouth. Search for that thin raised line that makes it appear to spit. Next, study the edges and lettering for any doubling. If the rim looks thicker in some spots, or if the spacing in the word Caesar Rodney or Delaware looks strange, you might have a valuable die variety. Also, check the color. Any odd copper or golden shade could mean the coin was struck on the wrong planchet. What makes this coin so fascinating isn't only the errors, it's what the coin stands for. It marks the beginning of a huge collecting craze that encouraged millions of Americans to check their pocket change again. For many collectors, the Delaware quarter is a reminder of how it all started, the first state, the first design, and sometimes, the first big find. So before you spend that old Delaware quarter sitting in a drawer, take one more look. Because if Caesar Rodney's horse appears to be spitting, you might be holding one of the rarest modern quarters ever made and a piece of history worth more than you'd ever expect. Next up, and you might want to sit down for this, is a coin that shook the world of collectors, the 2000 Wisconsin State Quarter. At first look, it seems like any ordinary quarter, but it has proven, time and time again, to be one of the most valuable state quarters ever made. And its story begins with something as simple as a dairy cow, a wheel of cheese, a stalk of corn, and a tiny, mysterious extra leaf that turned the collecting world upside down. The design itself celebrates classic Americana. There's a proud dairy cow standing calmly, a wheel of cheese lying beside it, and a tall, straight corn stalk reaching upward, representing Wisconsin's farming heritage. It looks innocent at first, but during production, something unusual appeared on a few coins. A tiny detail that would start a treasure hunt and make collectors' hearts race for decades. If your Wisconsin quarter is in fine condition, it may look dull, worn from circulation, with edges smoothed down and details barely visible from years of use. But here's where things get truly exciting. Collectors discovered a hidden feature, an extra leaf on the corn stalk. And it's not just one type, there are two, the extra low leaf and the extra high leaf. These leaves curve delicately off the side of the stalk, almost as if someone had added them by hand. No one knows exactly how it happened. Some think it was a minting error. Others suspect a rare die flaw at the Denver Mint. Whatever the reason, it created one of the most famous modern coin errors. Ordinary Wisconsin quarters. Worth just $25. But those tiny extra leaves. Suddenly, a coin could be worth hundreds or even thousands. Circulated extra low-leaf quarters sell for $345 to $1,386, while extra high-leaf coins fetch from $2,310 to $4,043. But that is only the beginning. In uncirculated or mint state condition, bright, clean, and perfectly struck, these coins have sold for $17,325, $34,650, even over $47,100. And one near-perfect specimen, showing both leaf varieties from an early die stage, was privately valued at nearly $578,000. Imagine pulling that out of your pocket at a gas station or finding it at the bottom of a drawer. What makes it even more fascinating is that these error coins were mixed in with regular rolls of quarters. People found them in banks, pockets, vending machines, and cash registers across the Midwest. Collectors and treasure hunters searched through thousands of coins, hoping to spot that tiny extra leaf. It became a modern coin version of a gold rush, with collectors racing against each other to discover these rare errors before anyone else. So how do you know if you might have one? Look carefully at the corn stalk to the right of the cheese wheel. If a small curved piece of metal points downward, that's the extra low leaf. If the tiny leaf appears higher, almost level with the main stalk leaves, that's the extra high leaf. Even in worn, fine condition, a coin showing this detail can be worth hundreds, possibly thousands. And remember, all of these legendary errors were minted in Denver, so check for the small D mint mark just above the date. The Wisconsin quarter is a perfect example of how the smallest mistake can become a masterpiece for collectors. It's more than just a coin, it's a story, a piece of history, and a lesson in paying attention to the little details. Every scratch, every mark, every curve tells a tale about where it's been and what it might be worth. Coins like this make people fall in love with the hobby of coin hunting, reminding us that treasures don't always glitter, they sometimes hide in plain sight, marked by a tiny leaf that changed history. So before you spend that worn Wisconsin quarter lying around in your pocket, take a long, careful look at the corn stalk. That tiny leaf could be worth more than you ever dreamed, maybe even more than a car, a vacation, or a small piece of property. It's incredible to think that such a tiny detail could hold so much value and history in the palm of your hand. And it's that kind of mystery that keeps collectors searching, day after day, for the next hidden gem hiding in plain sight. To finish off this amazing journey through rare state quarters, we head to the birthplace of flight, Ohio. The 2002 Ohio State Quarter is one of the most inspiring designs in the entire 50-state quarter series, combining history, innovation, and a touch of patriotism. But hidden beneath its beautiful design is one of the most mysterious and shockingly valuable modern coins ever discovered. The design is easy to recognize and full of symbolism. It honors the Wright brothers, showing their first legendary airplane soaring above the outline of Ohio. If you look closely, there's even a tiny astronaut tucked into the scene, representing Neil Armstrong, another Ohio native and the first man to walk on the moon. This coin captures Earth, air, and space in a single, elegant design, a miniature tribute to Ohio's contributions to human achievement. If your Ohio quarter is in fine condition, it might appear worn, with the plane's details faded and the astronaut's suit slightly smoothed from years of circulation. But don't let that fool you. This coin has earned a reputation for hiding some of the most unusual and valuable minting errors in the entire state quarter program. One of the rarest and most sought-after errors is the double die reverse. On these coins, the outlines of the airplane or the words "birthplace of aviation pioneers" appear doubled. The effect is subtle, almost ghostly, but for collectors who know what to look for, it can be worth a fortune. Even lightly circulated double die examples have sold for $2,310 to $6,630, while mint state pieces with strong doubling can reach over $40,425. And that's just the beginning. Some Ohio quarters display off-center strikes or broad-struck errors, where the design extends beyond the normal rim. These coins can look warped, ghostly, or slightly misshapen, almost as if they slipped through the mint's quality control. Mint state off-center examples have sold for anywhere between $11,550 and $51,975, depending on how extreme the error appears. But the most incredible values come from a few extremely rare coins struck on experimental planchets, blank coins that weren't even intended for quarters. One lightweight alloy example, similar to blanks used for foreign coins, shocked the collector world when authenticated and privately valued at nearly $577,500. Just imagine holding a coin from your spare change worth more than $500,000. That's the kind of magic these Ohio quarters can hold. Even without errors, uncirculated and proof versions of the 2002 Ohio quarter command attention. Proof silver coins from the San Francisco Mint, with deep mirror finishes and flawless frosting on the airplane and astronaut, regularly sell for $924 to $1,732. Perfect PR70 graded examples can reach $2,310 to $3,465, making them prized possessions for collectors. So, how do you know if your Ohio quarter is potentially valuable? Start with the reverse, the side with the airplane. Tilt it under bright light and examine the lettering carefully. Any doubled or shadowed words could indicate a double die error. Next, inspect the rim. If part of the design seems off-center or unusually thick, you might have a broad strike or off-center coin. And most importantly, feel the coin's weight. If it seems slightly too light or too heavy, it could be an off-metal strike, the rarest and most valuable of them all. The Ohio quarter tells a story of American innovation, spanning the fields where the Wright brothers first took flight to the distant moon, where Neil Armstrong left his footprints. And tucked between those two incredible achievements lies a chance for someone like you to discover a once-in-a-lifetime coin hiding in plain sight. So before you drop that Ohio quarter into a parking meter or loose change jar, take a closer look. That small, seemingly ordinary piece of metal might not just commemorate history, it might be history, if you happen to be holding one of the rare coins that slipped through the mint's careful hands. And there you have it, a journey through some of the rarest, most fascinating state quarters ever released. From Georgia's humble peach to Delaware's spitting horse, Wisconsin's mysterious extra leaf, and Ohio's soaring airplane, each coin tells a story that goes far beyond its small size. These aren't just pieces of metal, they are tiny time machines, snapshots of American history, and sometimes, life-changing treasures hiding in plain sight. Think about it for a moment. Some of these coins could be sitting in your pocket, your drawer, or a jar of spare change right now. They may look ordinary, but a trained eye can spot the details that turn a simple quarter into a fortune. A small die crack, a double design, a tiny extra leaf, or an off-metal strike can instantly elevate a coin from 25 cents to thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's incredible, almost unbelievable, but it's real. Coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about curiosity, history, and the thrill of discovery. Every scratch, every faded detail, every unusual shine tells a story of where the coin has been and what it might become. And that's the magic that keeps collectors searching, day after day, year after year. There's always the next hidden gem waiting to be found, and sometimes, the simplest coins can hold the greatest secrets. So before you spend your next quarter on a soda or a parking meter, take a moment to look a little closer. Examine the design, feel the weight, tilt it in the light, and notice every tiny detail. That small coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined, or at the very least, it's a piece of American history that connects you to the past. Who knows? Maybe one day, the quarter you've been using without a thought will be the one that surprises you, sparks your imagination, or even changes your life. From the first state to the last, these quarters remind us that treasures often hide in the most unexpected places, waiting for someone curious enough to find them. So keep searching, keep exploring, and keep checking your change. You never know what history, mystery, or fortune might be resting quietly in your hands. And remember, every coin has a story. The question is, will you be the one to uncover it?